Hi everybody, it's Sarah Cray with Let's Make Art, and today we are doing this no-fail watercolor holiday card. Ah! This is also going to double for our Let's Make Art Matter for the month. If you guys don't know, every month we choose a recipient to make and paint a little card to. And every December we actually do something special where we do it for the postal workers in our area. So then I thought it'd be cute if we did these cute little packages. And then it's just a little thank you for working so hard this holiday season. This project is like super beginner friendly. You can use whatever supplies that you have, any colors that you want. I use it to kind of like use up the paint on my palette, but we're going to list everything that we use in the description. Okay.
Sounds great.
We have Michael here working the cameras.
Well, hi.
And the comments sometimes. And this only is 2 steps.
Okay.
We paint squares and then we do details. That's it.
That sounds easy.
I am using this gold Uniball pen for my detailing, but if you have gold paint, if you have silver, like anything that you want to use, you can even just use a black pen if you want. Okay?
All right.
All right. Let's do our oath and get into it. So if you can raise your right hand and repeat after me. I promise to be kind to myself.
I promise to be kind to myself.
I promise not to compare my work.
I promise not to compare my work.
And I promise to have fun.
I promise to have fun.
Okay. So when we go to do these squares, you can do them all different shapes. Well, I kept them all square-ish, but if they get a little bit wonky, that's okay. It actually gives it a little bit of like personality. The only thing that you really want to be aware of when you're doing this kind of style is you kind of want the spacing between all of the shapes, whatever they are, to be similar. So if you notice, they're actually pretty similar spaced out. That's going to help your card feel balanced. So that's the only thing you really need to keep in mind as you're painting this card. Okay?
All right.
Okay, so I have my watercolor card here. I taped off the edges using Holbein soft tape, which is my favorite tape. I'm going to use around 6, and I'm just going to start going for it, okay? As you can see, my palette is crazy. So I'll do my best to tell you what colors I'm using. But honestly, like, this is one where you guys could really just do whatever you wanted. Okay. So I'm using around 6. The other thing that I want to say is if you have like a wash brush, that would probably be a bit easier because it's already that square kind of shape. And you might want to take like a second or two to kind of straighten up your presence. But if there's one thing I've learned, it's actually really hard to do a straight line. So if you can't do it, that's okay. You just got a wonky present. It's like if Sarah Cray wrapped it.
Man, we've got our Christmas shopping almost done, but we have not wrapped a thing, and I'm not looking forward to the great wrapping.
The great wrapping. Wrapping, it's so funny. I'm really, really bad at it. I get impatient where I like start off with good intention. So I always buy like the really cute wrapping paper with the really cute details and all of that kind of stuff. And then when I go to wrap, after about halfway through one of the presents, I'm like, forget this. And then I just do a bunch of tape.
Yeah. It's funny. I'm usually a very meticulous person. I can't be bothered about wrapping, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I do know. Okay, so this first color here was just Q Coral. And then this green that I'm putting in here is Undersea mixed with some Q Gold. And don't be afraid, like this is watercolor. So if you want to do some like little dark edges along here and just kind of let that color bleed out, there's nothing wrong with that. You can also grab some salt and do some salt textures on some of this. Again, the biggest thing is you just want to try and keep your spacing kind of similar. So now that I have this kind of defined that's kind of the shape I'm going to recreate, or like that spacing is what I'm going to watch as I add more. And then I'm trying to square my present off, but honestly, just do your best.
You're trying to stay present.
Yeah.
Here come the puns.
Okay, the next one I'm going to do like a dark green. Now remember, I'm kind of going off this card as a guide, but this is your painting. It's your life. So if you want to do something totally different, do it. It actually might be cute if you did like a bunch of different presents and then did like the initial of their letter, of their name.
Oh, yeah.
In like a different color across or something would be cute.
That'd be cute.
There's so many options. Okay, I'm going to do Phthalo, Indigo, and Undersea green, and that's going to give me like this deep green that I really like.
If you're really, really an overachiever, you could paint tiny paintings as each one, like it's really fancy wrapping paper, like snow scene,
Oh
like
my
little
gosh.
landscapes.
Yes.
It would only take 30 or 40 hours, you know?
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
That's not too
Then
bad.
you wouldn't want to give it to anyone. You're like, I want this.
This is my
This is
card.
my card now. That's a great color.
Isn't that pretty?
Yeah.
And then let's grab some pink. That's just going to be cute coral mixed with a bit of yellow mixed with some water. I like the little tiny ones. This is cute. And again, don't worry about any blooms or hard edges or anything like that. That's going to give your present some personality. That's just going to bring some fun to the mix. So don't stress. You can switch for like larger presents. If you want to switch to a larger brush, you can. That just makes it easier you're able to paint it faster. That's it. So I'm going to grab like a blue. I don't know. I think this is like phthalo and some indigo and some water right here. And I'm just going to put it in. Oh. And if you get a little bit close, that's not the end of the world. I don't want you guys to stress out. Just keep going. If you're a little bit more familiar with painting and understanding form and dimension, if you guys want to try doing like 3-dimensional presents or at least doing some like darker values along some of the edges or something to give it a sense of form, you can. It's not necessary though.
I kind of like how cute and simple this is.
I know, but I'm such a sucker for like illustration.
Yeah.
Okay, here I'm going to do like dark.
You guys don't know this, but I'm actually just illustrated in real life. You never see my face, but that's why she likes me so much.
I made him up. That's why he's so perfect.
You stop that.
You stop that. Okay, I'm going to fill this in.
All right, that color's winning for me.
Yeah, it's a good one, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
This one, I'm pretty sure it's the same, but more phthalo instead of undersea. Okay. So this one has a bit more undersea. That's why it's leaning more green. This one has more phthalo. That's why it's reading more blue. And the darker presents you can, well, actually, that's not true because I was going to say the gold pen shows up better on darker, but
yeah,
it's showing up about the same across. So
all except for that olivey one on top. That one's hard.
Yeah, and I think it's just because that's so yellow.
Yeah.
Let's do like a mint green here. So I'm going to take some Q Gold and some phthalo and some water.
We got married in the early 2000s. This reminds me of rugs from that era.
Oh my gosh, yes.
You would get this rug at Target for sure.
Yep. Okay, and then if I mix my Q coral with a bit of indigo, that's going to give it more like that really deep red color that's kind of like leaning, you know what I'm talking about. It's not like a bright, happy red. It's like that deep red.
Brick red, maybe?
Sure. This color.
Sarah says so, red.
Yep. And I don't think there's anything wrong with like outlining it and then filling it in. I will say that sometimes you can then get like an outline on the presents if you do that. But I don't mind an outline, especially on something like this where it's more like illustrated. And if you want it to feel more red, you can just take some Q coral and do like a little glaze of Q coral while it's wet. Okay. And then let's do a happy green. So for my happy green, I'm going to do Q Gold and phthalo. And that's just going to give me like a brighter green than the greens I've gotten so far. And these are always kind of fun because even though like we have a guide that we're going off of, like everybody's is going to look a little bit different. You know what I mean? So like, don't be afraid to respond to your paper and just kind of fit them together almost like puzzle pieces as opposed to trying to follow mine exactly. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to do a Q gold Undersea again. Right here.
You were saying, like, if you're sending this to someone to put their initials on the packages,
Yeah.
it'd be also cute if, like, they had a dog to draw, like, a little bone on one of them.
Oh, yeah, that would be so cute. And don't be afraid of doing like tiny ones too. I feel like the different sizes kind of lead to or add to like the whimsy. And if you get like an imperfect edge, you see this present right here where it's kind of like not totally smooth.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not mad about it. It's not a big deal. Again, you're just trying to keep the spacing as consistent as possible. Now, and let me show you something now because of that. So here I have this pink present that's long and skinny in between the green and the red. But if you can see here, this line is consistent across, where here the green is much lower than that blue. So if I were to do a pink present right here, I would actually have a pretty thick gap right in this area, you see, because those are not lined up.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, I'm just going to switch up my composition. I'm going to have the pink present end right here, and then I'm going to do a long skinny one right there. And so that way my spacing is consistent throughout.
Smart.
Okay, and again, trying to keep it square. Don't be afraid of the blooms and the bleeds. That's what watercolor is all about. And as your painting dries, you're going to see different colors kind of come to life. And if you don't care for anything, you can always do a wash or a layer on top to do like a color glaze of something to give it something, a little hint of something. So here, I'm going to do a skinny blue one right here really quick.
Oh, cool.
See how that feels more?
Yep. I think you should make it a little longer, though, on the bottom.
What?
Should you make it a little longer? I feel like it's kind of like slanting up the red and into the blue, you know? Yeah, perfect. That way you get consistency.
So let's say I wanted there to be a hint of green right here instead of, or you could do blue or whatever you want. Do I want it to be more blue or more green? Let's do more blue. I would grab like Phthalo, which is a really strong blue. And I would just do a glaze, which is just a thin layer on top. And that's just it's not going to crazy change it. It's just going to make it a bit more blue. So remember, you can always like slightly adjust things as you're going, okay?
Is a glaze a Serracraism, or is that like an actual?
It's an actual term.
It's one of my favorite things. I just love it. Like adds so much extra color to things, you know?
I like to do it because, yes, it creates a sense of saturation because watercolors, depending on the brand and the type that you're using, they tend to desaturate as they dry. And so I like to do like glazes because it gives that little extra hint of saturation. Okay, and let's do happier red here. The biggest thing is not to think too much about it. You're going to be painting this and you're going to be going like, oh my goodness, should I do this color or this color? And you're going to start to like stress out. And the best advice I can give you is to just go for it. Don't overthink it. Put a color down, move on. Because the reality is all of these cute little squares next to each other with bows on top, like their differences and their wonkiness is going to really make this painting special. So embrace it. I think I might do a little extra red right here on this one. And I think that's it.
Cute.
Okay. Now at this point, it's really not going to look that exciting. Okay. So, but don't stop. The hardest thing when you're painting something, especially as a beginner, is there's always going to be this moment in the middle of your painting where you're like, this does not look great, but you have to push through. A lot of the times we give up on our painting before we give it a chance to actually be something, and it's not really fair to it. So whenever you're feeling like, oh my gosh, this is trash, I don't want to do this, I'm just going to ask you to take a deep breath and sit with it. Like push through that and just keep on going, because every single painting has this messy middle area. And a lot of the times we think it's us, we're the problem, right? I'm bad at this, or I messed up, I'm going to start over. But really it's just how paintings evolve. You have to build it up. It doesn't look good every step of the way. And you want to make sure before you do any detailing, you're going to want to make sure that your painting is totally dry. If you try and do any gold detailing or whatever materials that you're using, if your presents are wet, then the pen isn't going to work or the color is going to bleed out. If you don't have a pen that you want to use, you can use paint and use like a liner brush or something to get like a thin mark. I also don't think there's anything wrong with using just like a black pen. Everybody's got a black pen in their kitchen junk drawer. Like, just grab one of those. You also might be, if you're just like, well, does the pen need to, like, is the pen water soluble? Like, would it bleed after? But we're not doing any painting on top of our pen detailing, so it doesn't really matter if it's waterproof or not. Okay?
Excellent.
Okay. I think at this point, it's dry. I'm doing the professional test of touching it to see if it's dry or not. And then going into this, I just want to point out my squares are wonky. They're not perfectly straight edges. I have unevenness. This present is like not square at all. Don't stress. This is just fun. It's playful and it's supposed to be a bit wonky and silly. Okay. So now to keep it really simple, there's a lot of different ways. Like you could do designs, you could do bows, you could do all this. I'm going to keep it super simple with my detailing, where basically I'm just going to do a line down the middle vertically and then one going horizontally and then just a little bow. Boop, boop, boop.
Perfect.
And you'll see that as you add these details that it becomes really cute, because before it was looking a little bit wonky. Look how cute. And of course, if you've seen presents wrapped, sometimes the bow, where they intersect is more on one side. Sometimes they put the bow kind of going across the edges as opposed to going down the middle. So don't be afraid to try different things out.
Was it you that told me that you used to be able to like mail children in the old days?
Yes, actually.
That's wild.
Yeah, isn't that wild? Like postal workers would just have like these children that they have to like bring to.
I saw on the internet, someone made a post of like, when you go to the post office and you can do like priority mail or ground and there's different rates.
Yeah.
There's also like very special rates for special things. Like if you want to mail a potato.
Really?
You can mail a potato and there's a rate for potatoes. I don't know. Someone compiled a list of it. It was pretty interesting.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I do know that if you mail books, you can get media mail pricing.
Right.
Which is awesome because I'm a big reader and I like to share my books with my family of like, here, borrow this one. This is good. So that makes it really easy to do that. Okay. And don't be afraid if you want the bow to be nice and big, or maybe you just want a little guy, just a little one. And you can have, you know what I mean? Like, don't be afraid to give little personalities. Maybe some of these bows are more long and skinny. And then maybe we have some bows that are more round.
Big old bow.
Like, look how cute this is. And then if for whatever reason you do have an area where maybe there's a larger gap, like you weren't able to get thick, even a consistent thickness in between the presents, it's not the end of the world. If there is an area where maybe you could just do a bow on the top of the present to make up for that space or something like that, that would be super cute. So this is where you can like kind of play around with things and come up with solutions. And that's really what creativity is. Creativity is putting together two ideas or ideas that seem like they don't go together, but they work together. That's really what it is. And so if you think about it that way, we're actually very creative naturally in our lives. If you're good or successful at your job, I guarantee you're creative. But sometimes people assume creativity means that you have this muse that inspires you every day and you have to paint it out. That's not really what it is. And so I just want to say that it's a muscle that you just exercise, and I guarantee that you are using creativity in your life way more than you think that you are. Okay. Ooh, I like this long, skinny one. I'm going to put the bow down here. And then maybe my bow has like a curly ribbon. Cute little wave. This one I need to do a ribbon. Boop, boop. And then if you want to do like on the thicker ones, like the bigger boxes, if you want to do like a double stroke on the pen to just thicken it up a bit, you can.
I want to make an amendment to what you said and include everybody. Listen, you could be bad at your job. You're probably creative still too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For all you out there just terrible at your job, you're awesome too.
You are awesome too.
Perfect.
Okay, look how cute that is though.
Super cute.
Are you serious? It's so cute. Okay, the very last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to peel off my tape. So when I peel off my tape, I'm moving away from my paper and being very gentle, and I'm going slow. And the reason why I'm removing the tape is because I want to do a little bit of a border. Because as you see, when I take off the tape, I have like a nice thick white edge, which isn't bad. But I just kind of want to activate that space. So you can do whatever kind of border that you want. I like to do a little corner border where I do these little dots kind of going in towards the middle. And you can use a straight edge if you want, but for the name of bravery, I'm just going to go for it. It's really hard to do a long straight line. And so a little trick that I use to kind of help me is I just break up the line. So instead of doing a consistent line all the way across, I'll do a chunk and then a chunk and then a chunk. And it's much easier for me to try and keep the line straight that way. If you want to do a little dot in between, you can. You do a chunk, chunk, chunk. And don't worry if the chunks aren't totally even. This is a wonky card. It's a handmade card. And if there's anything I've learned about like fun illustration, it's just that like the weirder, the better.
Yeah.
Honestly. Chunk, chunk, chunk. There it is.
Perfect.
It's so dang cute. I can't even handle it. I love it so much. And now you have this homemade, very cute holiday card. You can do this, again, using whatever supplies that you already have. I like to just use up whatever paint is on my palette. If you've got one of those new curated sets that you're not sure what the colors look like, this is an excellent way to do a little test page in your journal. It's playful, it's fun, it takes a few minutes, and it's super beginner friendly. You can't fail with this card. You guys are gonna do amazing. Please take this idea and run with it. Don't be afraid to put your own spin on it. You are the only one with your own creative voice, and I would love to see it. So thank you so much for painting with us today, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.